Welcome to MK Canada. I'm Andreas. How you guys doing tonight? I got Vince here from the Montreal side of the Quebecy things. How's it going? And I got Jordan down south here, Thunder Bay boy from Toronto. How you doing, dudes?
Good. What's going on, gentlemen?
Dude, so apparently Justin Trudeau is bungee jumping because, you know, like there's nothing
better to do.
There's nothing like you have to fix in Canada right now. There's no problems. You know, it's not like there's a bunch of people dying or the dude stabbed his brother. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff going on in Canada. Let me jump to the bungee jumping thing because that was kind of interesting. Let's just watch it. Let's just literally watch jump. Can you hear that? Is there audio?
Nope.
I want you to hear. I want you to have to hear this, dude. It's that ridiculous. Okay, so here's Justin Trudeau. Hear that?
The highway. You got this. You're in a good position. In 5, 4,
Whoa, he
3,
just swore.
2, 1.
What did he? Oh,
I like how people think purple is just this really like, you know, interesting color for royals to choose. Basically, you know.
wow, that was so uneventful.
Yeah.
I bet I'd
like
like to
most
see
of
comments
his-
from the. I'd like to see comments from the bungee jumping community.
Yeah, most of his politics and bungee jumping so far have been lacking. Let me see if we can go there. Let's see. I'm sure that they've deleted negative comments
There's
a lot.
probably people ripping on him so hard.
But
yeah,
how
for
could
sure.
you get rid of all the comments? Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Translation. I don't see any comments.
Yeah, they probably just removed them entirely.
There are
They do this a lot with Canadian politics. Like you have a video about anything in politics, and then they'll just censor all the comments because
this is brutal. So, you know, what's going on in Canada right now? Let's just remind ourselves because this is kind of like you're right, Vince. It's like the Black Mirror episode where they make the prime minister have sex with a pig. You know what I'm talking about?
pretty
Black
much. Yeah.
Mirror pig, just to remind America, because I think we're not. That's the earliest episode, but it's basically they're saying, hey, you know, during the entire episode that this is happening, they try not to let anybody know, but the internet knows what's going on the entire time. So by the end of the day, when they're about to do it and they're forced to on national and international television show the thing that they're demanded of, everyone isn't hearing about this for the first time. 1.5 billion people have already seen it on the internet. That's what seems to be going on right now. Like Quebec elects the fiercely nationalist Francois Legault, right? I mean, this is going on right now.
I had some people who went to that. I mean, they tried to vote and they got turned around. They were told that they had already voted.
What?
So,
wait.
yeah.
Okay, so we'll elaborate on this. We can go back to the bungee jumping story later. But point is, other things are happening in Canada. So what is going on with Legault? Am I even saying his name right?
Yeah, it's Legault. They're Legault.
Legault.
It's the same.
Okay.
This guy is apparently former doctor, or he worked in the medical field before, and now he's just. I mean, he's a crook. Like he's one of the most hated prime ministers in Quebec, like ever. And then there was an election this Sunday, and apparently people were getting turned away because I don't know why, but I don't know what the reason was, but they said that these people had voted already.
Well, but was it because they were worried that he wasn't going to be voted for, or what do you think? I mean,
I look, it's easier to rig an election than it is to win an election, or else people wouldn't rig elections. So you can't win it honestly. The easiest thing to do is to just steal them because you already own every media company and you're the one running the ballots and all these systems. So hey, it's pretty easy. You slip in some fake ones and you vote for people already and you say they already voted, and that's all that you have to do.
Well, who is the competition for this Legault?
Honestly, there wasn't much. That's the thing. Like Quebec is kind of devoid of politicians that are worth the attention, and so the ones that are just people know tend to get in power, and so it's always just oscillating between these two parties that are.
I mean, this article, it's funny to like agree with it, but yeah, Quebec's electoral system continues to alienate voters. Experts say, especially in Montreal, many Quebec voters, particularly Montrealers, are feeling disenchanted in the wake of the provincial elections and say Quebec's disproportional electoral system is to blame. An online petition calling for electoral reform. And we've got this problem in the United States with electoral disproportionality. What do you think? Is that the problem? Or is it just like you said before, where are the campaigning politicians that are worth voting for? Do they exist?
you know, they put a bunch of signs up every 4 years, and we have them in every corner, and it's just some person's face for a different place that we've never really heard about because our media doesn't really cover this. So, you know, if you want to vote for someone and you're going to know who they are for your section, then I mean, good luck. Like most of the time, you're going to get barely anything going on Google to find anything about the politician that's supposed to represent your area. And so, I mean, I think people are disenfranchised because it's just placeholders, and that's what they feel like it is, because the system's been fucked for so long that, like, you know, now people are just like, well, you know, we'll do the pantomime. We're going to go and put the slip in the ballot box and that'll change things.
Dude, Quebec
Never
managed
does.
to increase its majority to 90 seats, but it only nabbed 2 seats in Montreal. So, like, what's happening in Montreal? This seems like a bigger, interesting issue that Canada is that the city of Montreal is becoming more metropolitan. What do you think? Is that what that's saying?
You know, Montreal's always been this sort of place where, like, multiculturalism is at the forefront, and so you've always had the strongest concentration of English people in Quebec, in Montreal. Right. And you know, they're not happy with, say, like a politician going like, well, this is a French like province, because Quebec is not French, it's bilingual, it's multicultural. And so to be like, oh, this is only a French place and we have to protect the language, basically negates the culture that isn't only French. And so people are like, well, fuck you then. Like, why would I vote for you if you're not willing to acknowledge that English is also part of Quebec, you know?
Interesting. Well, then that's kind of, so what is then the deal with our fiercely nationalistic party? Is that true then, or is he just trying to defend the French interest? What?
Well, he's the thing is, when it comes to French Quebecer nationalism, we have a separation from Canada, right? So he's a separatist. He wants to make Quebec solidaire. and yeah, I mean,
Répétons solidaire Quebec or something. I don't know. Do you have a MAGA equivalent? I want to hear it.
The thing is, he's not really a MAGA equivalent, although I'd say that we do have a sort of, I mean, the nationalist Quebec thing is quite alive and strong. It's just a lot of Quebecers are waking up to the fact that this is just another thing that keeps us fighting forever and ever, while the real problems just perpetuate themselves. So, you know,
redonner le français au Québec.
That should be it. That's all we need. RLFAQ.
The slogan, the most common slogan is "Vive le Québec libre," means, you know, basically long live free Quebec, basically. And I mean, it's one of those things that I think this is part of the Quebec programming, where people, like, we have the most diversity and probably some of the best culture comes out of Montreal, but at the same time we have just the most divided culture in Canada, where it's just like you have the French and the English who just are pinned against each other by politicians, while the politicians sell us out to, you know, the highest bidder, the mob, the Hells Angels, whatever they can, whoever's willing to pay the checks, basically.
Dude, speaking of which, we got to do a deep dive again. Like, I know we the way it was for Americans just barely brushed the surface of, like, the underground criminality, but that's going to be a beautiful thing to look into. I wanted to share with everybody, if they haven't already joined the Tartary Discord, I'm sorry, the Xirtus Discord. The Tartary Discord is dead. The Xirtus Discord is the new Discord.
It's dead, damn.
It was destroyed. It was destroyed. Discord destroyed the original Discord. So we have an all new Discord, and it's freaking amazing. And there's tons of people. There's, like, new people joining every day. We have roles, mods. There's all kinds of these robots. You can play game. We have a game room. You can just play games with robots and go fishing and stuff. But each show, we've got deep dive ideas in general for the Xirtus stuff. And then there's a pretty solid MK Canada community now, you know, and so going through all the stuff here, you can look up Taking Care of Business, Punk Cover, obligatory memes of Canada, the Great White North.
Cool. Yeah.
And, so yeah, I mean, we're trying to open up the conversation a bit about Canada and about, like, the Great White North in general. I don't know if the Little Mermaid's exactly Canadian, but she has red hair, so I guess I can. Did you guys? What happened with the Miles Sanderson situation. So Canada mass stabbing suspect's brother was victim, not accomplice. Police say Miles Sanderson, who died in the RCMP custody, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, was responsible for the deaths of 11 victims, including that of his brother Damien. Like, when did you guys get full America? Like, what happened over there? I don't know, but
I had not heard the update on this as of today. What is this? Is this today? Yeah.
I suppose. So Canadian police have concluded that Miles Sanderson, who led officers on a multi-day manhunt after a mass stabbing last month, was responsible for 11 deaths, including that of his brother. Officers initially named Sanderson's brother Damien as a suspect in the stabbings in James Smith Cree Nation and the nearby town of Weldon, Saskatchewan. But on Tuesday, the commanding officer of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police said in the province told reporters that they had concluded Damien was a victim who played no part in the killing. So dude went crazy, killed a bunch of people, including his brother. You guys a month ago, did this make big news?
Yeah, I mean, it made pretty big news, and I think we lightly touched on it last time, where for this they had blocked off all the comments for it because people would have been like, well, if only they had banned knives, there wouldn't have been this happening, you know. But because you know, they going full America, well, we have had shootings in Canada before, but a mass stabbing, like 11 people, that's insane. That's like, can you imagine, you know, like that's the most personal way you can really kill someone, and just doing it 11 times, like,
dude, the F division, that's pretty ironic too. Just like major F for all of the 11 Fs. Yeah.
This person probably had a massive psychosis or a really fucking bad day. But I mean, who knows, you know, like there's so much at work, and it's hard to say what really qualifies as programming. And, you know, like I'm not so sure that this person was under MK Ultra anything, but maybe medical distress.
If you type in medical, I saw that somewhere. Where was that? It just said it. Where was that? It said medical distress. I don't know. I think the dude was crazy. Sounds at least like he's probably on some sort of a schizo thing. Maybe not MK Ultra, but everybody's a little MK Ultra now, right? You got all these laugh tracks and these crazy TV shows. They're taking all these weird vapes and drugs, and you can't even get the real thing. So you get this weird synthetic crap in different like gas stations across the provinces. I mean, I don't know.
Hey, look, I mean, it's from every direction is sort of contributing to mass programming. And so to have someone who snaps within the system, within the matrix, is sort of like someone has suddenly been activated as a sleeper agent in some sort of, I don't know, weird spell.
When they were 9, Sanderson's parents separated. The boy went to live with his father and father's girlfriend, where he witnessed more violence. Next, he went to live with his grandparents, but ended up in an abusive environment again. Then Sanderson went to live with the father. He was 11. There's a lot of 11 going on here. I hate to be like full synchronicity, but interesting. At 12 years old, Miles Sanderson started drinking, smoking marijuana. At 14, he added cocaine into the mix. Okay, so then it gets into the methed out cut cocaine crack. He's on speeds and things, and his brain goes nuts. Then he starts going through prisoning. Was it 6 children mentioned by the parole board? Your criminal offending commenced at a young age. Okay, so the fact that he's been raised going into criminal environments, anytime you get in trouble, they put you in an environment with more criminals rather than put him in a place where you can learn how to act like other people that aren't criminals. You know, put you in a group of criminals and you can all follow each other, right? I don't know. Maybe that's even a bigger problem in society. And he looks like he's probably Ojibwa or some sort of First Native to some extent, also, right? And a name like Sanderson too, right? It's like the Cassius Clay been given this name, forced to assimilate into a culture that's taken over your country. I don't know.
The colonized name, right? The slave name, as they would call it.
And like, not taken away from like the Scandinavians, like who were in Canada 1,000 years ago. Just saying, this is the British version of that.
Yeah, but I mean, this is something that they did to every culture. Like, I mean, the switching, the anglicization of every single culture's name is just, you know, it's rampant, and it led to loss of identity. And this person's ailment is in part due to loss of identity and, like, you know, lack of connection with what they really truly are and what they truly were. And so this person is just immersed in a notion of gang culture and drug culture and criminal culture. And so this wouldn't be present in their older civilization structure. And so this is a modern problem. It's like all the casinos that they own. I mean, that wouldn't have existed without us. And so this is just a byproduct.
Right. Of all the things that they could get, give them like gambling and casinos, things that aren't really good for your society, you know. Make some people sell crack, make other people run casinos. Yeah, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah, but often, you know, like there's part of this where they're trying to adapt into the system. And so out of that, it's just like with any other person that's trying to be part of the system, some people are sick byproducts of it that are just, they have psychosocial symptoms, you know, and that can't be stopped. So you're going to get psychopaths here and there as long as the system's as sick as it is.
Well, I mean, and then you got perpetuation in Tavistock media. You think about like sports and television, and hockey comes up obviously again this week. Hockey even more under the gun than before. Justin Trudeau, in between bungee jumping, slams Hockey Canada, suggests dissolving the organization. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has called for widespread change at Hockey Canada as the national governing body for hockey remains embroiled in a sexual assault scandal. I don't mean to like sound sarcastic, because there is a lot of serious issues in all sports, and in hockey, I'm sure it's no different. But when Justin Trudeau's talking about your scandal, you know, we've hit a level of irony that's just like metaphysical. So I don't know. But what do you think's going on here? I mean, we saw last week that the sex scandals have been getting to be a bigger and bigger deal. Now they just straight up want to just like, sounds like they want to change the name, start hockey over again with a new name, new rebranding, the same way Monsanto did. What do you think?
Well, you know, Justin, sorry, you can go if you want, Jordan.
No, excuse me. Honestly,
is every Canadian quietly in the room just ready to scream about hockey? That's awesome. Keep going.
No, I just think it's such a stupid tactic. It seems like just a quick switch to keep the ball rolling down the.
Exactly. Change the name. They're gonna get rid of the organization. What do they do? Get rid of hockey? No.
Yeah.
It's a rebranding, right? So it's just about image.
Barely.
That's all it really is.
So go ahead, my friend. That's all I wanted to say. It was just a sham of a strategic move, so to speak, in my eyes. No real substance to it.
Jordan, go ahead. I mean, Vince, either way. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on I'll read it further if you want a bit too. This past summer, it was revealed that Hockey Canada had used National Equity Fund to pay off sexual assault victims on Monday. The Globe and Mail reported that Hockey Canada engineered a second fund called the Participants Legacy Trust, which remind me, we should do this too. The Participant Legacy Trust Fund, with the purpose of matters including but not limited to sexual abuse. There's a sex abuse fund. What is this? This is like when Airbnb had that rape fund. You remember that one?
Look, when you have an organization like hockey, let's say the Montreal Canadiens play in Montreal. What happens is there's a I mean, after all the hockey players just go to strip clubs and they just bang a bunch of strippers, and so eventually you're gonna get, you know, like a bunch of guys on steroids who play highly violent sports. Like, of course you're going to have some sort of problem with that. But, you know, I think Justin Trudeau is doing this because he wants to win as many gold stars as he wants. And for him, that's done by virtue signaling. So this is just another notch on his like virtue signaling belt that he can just proclaim as being morally superior, you know. But at the same time, he has allegations against him for sexual assault as well,
right?
You know?
Exactly.
So it's like, you know, it's like him going like, oh, racism is bad, but then doing blackface, you know, like this is just the exact same process, except now done with hockey, and they're going to take every single part of culture. And don't get me wrong, there's problems with hockey. I mean, like there's something weird about the psychology of the appreciation of this sport, and I guess it extends to most sports. Like, you know, like it's like the equivalent of our baseball or football that you have in America. But like, let's say Montreal plays, the Canadiens play in Montreal, they will riot after. Like most times there's going to be a riot, even if they win. So it's like, even if they get what they want, in the end, there's still going to be a violent reaction from the crowd. And that's just, it's like it's like the cathartic moment for our culture, where everything is just, we know it's bullshit and we know that we're being lied to, but we have to just keep going along and going along and going along. And then the moment things happen in a sport, it's like the energy gets so high that we just break loose, and for a moment we think we're invincible because our hockey team won or something like that.
I'm so convinced the biggest lie isn't even hockey, it's lacrosse, right? Because lacrosse is such a Jesuit mind. I mean, just a total lie. The idea that in the 12th century these natives were created this game called the cross. No, that's not what happened. And as you get deeper into it, like, yeah, of course, we're natives playing games. So yes, there are all kinds of interesting games. But this game, which they pretend, what they did was they completely assimilated the culture and turned it into lacrosse and make people think that this 17th century game is an indigenous game. That is the gnarliest. I can't believe they get away with it. That is the most brutal. Yeah, like this is not what natives did in the 12th century. I'm sorry, it's not real. But
they had a mean game of soccer though.
Yeah, but this is also, this picture is about lacrosse. It's from the 1850s, so that's the other. So the idea that this is a new thing, it's a new thing. Soccer, on the other hand, we could do soccer skull, Aztecs. That's a good point. I mean, people kicking skulls around, that's legit. I don't know if I can find a picture of that being done.
I don't think you're gonna be able to find that. Yeah,
kicking. I'd have to make it with
just look up like
AIRs.
Aztec soccer game or something.
This works though, right? You can get kind of the vibe. That's all you need. That tells you what you're thinking about.
That's the most native picture I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
I mean, you can't actually see a native picture. Arguments here, because if you were to look at it, you'd be looking at it through your own modern lens.
Sure. I mean, like no matter what, we're going to interpret things our own way. And so we're going to look at an old ritual, like, guy's head soccer and be like, oh, this is bad.
I think we can't understand things like soccer because the idea that people were trying to get sacrificed to get to the top of the thing, it's hard to understand. Oh wait, never mind. Anyway, as in we do that all the time. Trudeau's Canadians should create Canada hockey if Hockey Canada doesn't change soon. There we go. Sorry, it was like a Dr. Seuss post. But if they're gonna name the new organization Canada Hockey instead of Hockey Canada, will that solve sexual assault in Canada? I don't know. Or take it further. Like, is this gonna do anything at all? Like, what is this going to do?
Maybe the Google searches improvement on that. Maybe. Although I've heard you can pay lawyers to wipe like phrases from the internet.
Did I say Kurt and Melissa are here? Because like I psychologically felt it, but I wasn't sure. Like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Kurt and Melissa. I'm so sorry.
Great to be here.
God, I love that voice. Anyway, it's going to improve search results. I hear you there. But the other thing is that Canada is going to be in control of. See, it's not Americans playing hockey now. It's Canada running the hockey, So it's like, it's not just Hockey Canada. That was like, hey, we're in Canada. We love hockey foremost. Now it's Canada. We love Canada foremost. It's a state-run thing, right? Isn't that what this is going to be? Mm-hmm. Isn't this not just this isn't just not going to help.
Look,
this is going to make things worse.
If the Canadian government can control hockey, that means they get to regulate scandals better. So what we had now with this sex scandal that emerged was actually just a failure from PR. And I'm not saying that makes what they did okay. I'm saying that scandals are going to keep happening, just like they happened with Justin Trudeau and people as part of his cabinet. All they have to do is sweep it under the rug more effectively. And so this is part of that process. Instead of actually solving sex scandals, what they're going to do is they're just going to change the way we perceive what's going on in these organizations. And so a rebranding is part of that, because you need a clean slate, or else it's just going to be tinged by something else. But they're not very good at rebranding either. It doesn't really trick anyone. It's just about the surface image, because the reality is that most people don't like Justin Trudeau, but you wouldn't actually know that. It's just he controls everything.
I just want to know what drugs he actually takes. So like, HuffPost will tell you he smokes some pot, but I've seen a lot of kids in different, prescription medication, pupil dilations. And I'll tell you what, bruh, that guy's on some stuff. I don't know what it is. I mean,
So
but
stimulants will expand the pupil, like so it's bigger, and then I believe this is so. And then what are they? Depressants or
well,
whatever?
let's go
Will
a little harder. If this guy's taking like research psychedelics that you can't find and you can't label properly, like they found out Macron was doing with Macron was on triple 3-MC research chemical. I don't know. You can find the thing. Anyway, the French are all about taking these crazy, weird drugs that are like the Soviets had re-engineered bath salts. That's what they're called.
Crystal.
But they found bank records and crypto receipts showing that transactions had happened from Macron buying a triple MC so he could take cathinones. And there's a number of other politicians that are clearly on different kinds of stimulants and Adderalls, but there's also tryptamines, right? And so like Shulgin worked on tryptamine.
Look at this guy.
Yeah,
Dude.
tryptamine.
This
He's
guy,
on it
though,
right now.
That's
This guy-
Shogun, man.
this guy graduated at 15, went in the military, went in a submarine, came out of it memorizing. Yeah,
What a
and
legend.
memorized a chemistry book. By the time he got out of it, he was working for DuPont and he made like snail, what do you call it? Pesticides for snails. I think you can find this. DuPont pesticides. And they would put on the box, you'd be like, the one that really works, you know? Yeah. But then they were like Dow Chemicals and whatever. They're like, what do you want to do? And he's like, I think if we were to isolate chemicals from the mescaline cactus, there's a lot of chemicals and there's these terrible antidepressants. We have horrible antidepressants. I bet you I can make a better antidepressant if I analyze that. This is the 50s. And then DuPont's like, go, do it, run, go. And so there's all of these other kinds of weird psychedelic drugs that don't have prescriptions. They don't have patents. They don't have trademarks. They're just open source. So the pharmaceutical companies don't make them, but synthesizers do this. Chemists do this around the world. And you know, the people who are into this stuff, particularly the elite who can afford to buy internet drugs and Bitcoin or whatever is going on, like Justin Trudeau. And then I don't know, the reason was because we looked at that picture of him. Let me go back and see if I can find that picture.
Hey, who knows? You know, maybe he takes his adrenochrome cut with some maple syrup.
Right. And that's another important point.
Maybe
is
he's
that
just
maple syrup-
naturally very high, you know,
Look, this guy,
high on life.
this guy's
Whose life? Whose life, Melissa? Adrenochrome.
This
He
guy's
grew up
a
pretty good.
Is
But this
maple
kid-
syrup and adrenochrome the same color? Sorry. Keep going.
Sorry, yeah.
Could
Is that
be.
is that a butt plug?
Yeah.
Adrenochrome?
This down.
What did they do?
I guess I mean you can boof it, right? You can.
That is when a 7-layer
Mhm.
chemical perforation machine. They have 7 of these tubes that the powders are extracted in. But
For
Definitely
those-
perforating something, I can tell you that.
For those who don't know, boofing is
Oh, yeah.
rectally-
It's a
Oh,
Canadian.
I
It's a
boof-
Canadian
I boof-
patriotic
I boof
activity.
the boof.
It's a
It's how
rectal ingestion of drugs.
Everyone has to do it in the morning for the flag. It's
So we got a microdose
Actually,
Dunkin'
in France, that's how they administer all their medications.
The only thing they boof over there is dick.
Oh, there.
Up the
Love
butt,
France.
yeah.
this got
Like
pretty
little children will be like,
got
"I
pretty
did my
Anglo-
medicine."
It's got pretty
Oh,
Anglophile, just real quick. This francophobia is what I'm hearing right now.
Je peux parler en français si tu veux.
But boof in Canada, a beauf or a boof, not in Canada, in France, a beauf or a boof is a dude who has a mullet and eats cat food and wears like a tracksuit and loves Johnny Holiday. It's like
Oh,
a beauf. Oh,
really?
that guy's a real beauf. Yeah,
Just our boof.
yeah. You get what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If we want it, I got a little. If we're done this subject, I got a quick little fucking Canadian thing for you.
Go it, eh?
Because he mentioned a boot, and I'm like, fucking asshole. But Mike Myers, classic Canadian, he just put out a new super occult.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I
Dude.
talked about it last time. Yeah.
This is
Kubrick-
a thing that we should harp
Kubrick-
on, though.
Kubrick dip.
I have to watch it.
So I watched the first 3 episodes, and it's like it's stupid as fuck, but like it's fun seeing all the symbols and just the ideas that they're throwing. And
I think it's freaking great. I mean,
it's great. And then have you guys seen the other Netflix show Inside Job?
I haven't seen it yet.
That
Is it-
one's just as good. It's fucking hilarious.
Really?
They're both very similar.
They just drowned you in occultism, conspiracy theory.
I was a lot like less quick.
wizard people. It's great.
I was
dude.
less quick to trust this one, but I'll give it a
No,
shot.
No, dude.
Honestly, you don't have to trust either one. This is controlling perception of secret societies, and I mean, you
It's
know,
hilarious. For
the-
people like us, we can get
Yeah,
what's going
yeah.
on, so we can appreciate it. So I fucking personally love it because I
I'll
know
give
what's
it a
going
shot.
on.
For muggles, it's entertaining. For everyone else, you're like, holy shit, what am I watching?
Pentavrit's nuts, though. I really think everyone, I know for sure everyone should watch this show. It's completely brilliant.
It's deep, man.
If you've ever seen his first movie, do you ever watch How to?
Yeah, he started a lot. I Married an Axe Murderer.
So I Married an Axe Murderer, and So I Married an Axe Murderer, he played his own father, which is where he gets that Scottish accent, and in that. His dad and his mother are conspiracy theorists, and they're always warning him, and he's not into conspiracy theories. He accidentally marries an axe murderer that's in the tabloids his mom warned him about, right? So you should be listening to conspiracy theories more. And the father starts out at the beginning saying, in this 1989, 1991, whatever it is movie, he's like, it just so happens that the world's run by the Pentaveret, 5 men out of Dubrovnik, and then it goes into this crazy thing.
That's where it comes from.
So it's not like he just came up with this.
Yeah, he was talking about this like 30 plus years ago.
Okay, I'm going to look that up tonight. Thank you.
Yeah. So, but what's crazy is that the whole story is that there's these Croatian guys who discovered soap, and they were up against the Catholic Church, and they had to keep it secret that soap was the cure, not exorcisms, and that they have trains underground that connect to Croatia that they run the world from. And the Pentaveret are a secret society that run the world, and this is like their outfits. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, straight up.
But I mean, the argument that they make is like the point of this show is that this is a secret society of good people. So like they're actually trying to help
every secret society wants to make the world a better place. We were just talking about this the other day.
So they say.
We were just thinking about this the other day, the idea that the elite are probably trying to use up all of your wealth so they can stop you from stopping them from making the world a better place. Right. If they're going to make the world this, reset economy utopia, they have to stop everybody from having all the money.
Right.
Well, stop them. Right.
The thing is, the question is like making it better for who, basically.
Well, I mean, if these guys want soap for everybody, right? And soap is generally good for everybody.
Right.
So the problem in the show is that Rupert Murdoch gets into the group. And when Rupert Murdoch gets into the group, he tries to destroy the group. The same problem that happened in what's that movie with Mel Gibson, Conspiracy? You know what I'm talking about?
Conspiracy Theory?
Conspiracy Theory? What's that movie about conspiracy theory? Yeah.
Called Conspiracy
Anyway,
I've never seen it.
It's a very important movie. In the first, like, what he does is like
movie.
he starts out at the movie, but it's such a MK Ultra Tavistock movie, because the idea is that we did have, and this came out right after the Freedom of Information Act show that there were MK Ultra documents, so like we have some documents, but the thing was the scientist who did that was crazy and we had nothing to do with it. He was a Nazi. We hired a Nazi, but that was a bad idea. We moved on, and and then it's played by was Patrick Stewart. I think
so.
Stewart is the Nazi Dr. Green character. Conspiracy theory. But the deal is that then, so he's the Nazi. He screwed it all up, and now we're all better, right? Because he's gone. So the America, we're back on track, and that was the point of that movie. But they start out with it by saying, this conspiracy and that conspiracy. And he's telling this person as a taxi driver all these conspiracies, and then they lined them up and they made them come in a cup so they could, in vitro clone all of the presidents. And then he tells them about fluoride in the water. So it's like, by the time you hear all of the conspiracies, you've heard a couple first that are so crazy sounding that you can't absorb the rest of them are all actually just not conspiracy theories. They're just facts, right?
The illusions made of truth.
Silly. That's a silly one.
I mean, that was one of those like long orbits, so I don't remember exactly like what the point of a conspiracy theory was. Oh, Pentaveret? Yeah, Pentaveret, and every show about conspiracy theories that disclose anything, they have the same plot formula. The world is a vampire, and then the world's got all these problems, and America's making it better, and then all of a sudden somebody gets in there and he screws up the program, and they had to do it. They had to have that program, but then this guy messed up and we're back on track. It's every time. So Pentaveret does that. Conspiracy theory does that. I can't think of too many other conspiracy theory movies, but the Circle with the Tom Hanks, have you seen that one?
Circle with Tom Hanks.
The Circle, Tom Hanks.
Look that one up?
It's on Netflix as well. It's got that girl, Emma Watson. He plays Mark Zuckerberg, and everyone works at the Google Circle.
Oh, I have that on my list, but I haven't gotten into that one yet. No,
it's very Black Mirror episode, and the ending is just like one of those movies where like they started with a good idea, but the ending doesn't it just drops off. They didn't invest the time into really making it work. But I mean, the ending is basically, we're gonna fix it now and get back on track. We'll just stop. Like And the thing is, the social network's watching you, so you have to behave a certain way. And eventually she figures out that the two guys running the network never have been tracked. They're not on 24-hour track. So she makes sure that they, so full so the thing is, use it on the people. It's a good system. Everyone should be watched all the time. Panopticon, right? That's a, what do you guys think about the Panopticons? Canada Panopticon? Opticon.
Panopticon.
I mean, Facebook is, the internet is.
They kind of had that on like The Voice this year.
What's
or
The Voice?
During pandemic, that song show. The Voice.
What's this? Oh yeah, talk about this. What is this?
Not Voice Canada, The Voice America. They had like during the pandemic, the screens behind the judges of everyone in the audience. Like it was like screens of people's faces, like mega screens of like zooming audience members zooming in to watch.
I mean,
you can see like The Voice audience pandemic or something.
Voice, okay.
Yeah.
Voice was it?
It's not Canadian, it's American. The Voice audience. Looking in French.
I don't know. All right, let me see here. I don't know what The Voice is. That's how out of it I am.
Oh my god, it's such a fun show. But it's definitely MK Ultra probably, and I'm just like enjoying it. Oh, you can kind of see it there.
It looks pretty MK Ultra. Which one is it? Where?
Wait. Where to go now? Oh, up, right corner.
Yeah, right corner.
Yeah, this. And you can kind of see the background. See how everyone's just.
Oh my god.
Zoom
cool. Audiences?
Yeah, and I think Ellen did it too, but I can't remember. Someone else did it.
That's insane.
It's creepy.
We can regard our cell phones as part of the Panopticon as well. I mean, they record us, they document us, track us, everything. So
the shot that they get is so funny though. Like
do you feel like yeah. Do you feel like in American society, I feel like they're trying to push us to all care about America, like nationalism. You have to care if everyone has a mask or something like that. But does that come more naturally in Canada or not? Like, do you feel like being a Canadian is as important as being a free person, or which is more important?
I mean, look, I don't know anyone who says for Queen and Country, so I don't think anyone who's Canadian, they don't. I mean, I know some Canadians who do identify as Canadian and go like they have pride about it, but most people I know they're just like, I'm a person and you're a person and we're going to be nice to each other because we're people, not because we're Canadians. Like if you get someone who's not Canadian who come in, they're not going to be like, oh, you're not Canadian, like unless they're Quebecer, at which point they're going to be you're not French, so they're going to be mean about it. But,
and their culturalization programming is sort of like pretty streamlined, I'd say. Like
there's a lot of scandals though that make it like harder because you're like watching Canada not be this innocent thing all the time. I mean, so the short history of Justin Trudeau's scandals plagued by a liberal government. I don't know if that's the idea of liberal is so different in Canada also. The scandals,
and liberal between federal and provincial is different too,
right?
Pretty sure in governments.
Yeah, you want to expand upon that? Like what would you say like to explain that to an American or something?
Yeah, it's like the liberal like provincial government is gonna, I think in BC at least, it's more some kind of economic planning is different with them. Like I don't know how to describe it, but they're basically responsible for a lot of like a housing crisis and like weird scandals too, but they're separate somehow from the federal stream. I don't know why, but their approach is just different. I don't know.
70 years old.
These things. Gosh.
Well, it's like it just seems like the it's everybody's using the words they want to use. They've been using since the 20s or something, the 70s, anytime in between, and then they don't.
All I know is that we vote NDP. If you're one of the people, you vote NDP. One of the people, you vote NDP, and then if you want to be an asshole, you vote Green. That's kind of it.
Everyone's an asshole to someone else, so it's endless.
Yeah. If you want to be like fuck you, like ruin their algorithms or something, then you vote Green.
These aren't even all just like blackface. Aga Khan, Justin Trudeau first got in trouble with the ethics commissioner in December 27 when it came out that he'd broken conflicts of interest rules by vacationing at the Aga Khan's private island over Christmas. What is the Aga Khan? A title held by the Imam of the Nazari of the Shias. What? Okay, so he had like had a pretty big party, and this guy's in charge of the Shia Islamic. Is it? What is this guy? Who is this guy? Aga Khan. He looks like super British looking, for a Muslim. Persian, Aga.
Yeah, big time.
History. First Anglo-Afghan War. Okay. Yeah. So this is like the British. Interesting. British Islam. like into Phoebe Hearst.
Yeah, so that one was about the corruption laws, basically. So he was accepting lavish gifts from them.
Well, yeah, but also from whom? You know what I mean? From like British Islamicists who finance ISIL allegedly. So that's kind of interesting. While partying over Christmas. I mean, not Ramadan. All right, costumes in India, not an ethics scandal, but Justin Trudeau found himself wearing funny clothes. He does that a lot. Part 2, groping allegation. 2018, a newspaper piece from 2000 emerged. A reporter alleged that Trudeau, who was 28 at the time, was at the Kokani Summit in Creston, BC, British Columbia, raising money for charity. An editorial in the local paper said Trudeau was accused of groping and inappropriately handling a female reporter during the event. Well, dude, that's probably why he got elected. That's probably the most masculine sounding, it proves that he's capable of that.
Yeah, grab her by the pussy Canadian equivalent, basically.
Right. Yeah. Reached by CBC in 2018, the woman said the incident referred to in the editorial did occur. As reported, Mr. Trudeau did apologize the next day. All right. Well, that's
on his amphetamines. Okay. Like you can't always control things.
Catherine, I did not pursue the incident at the time and will not be pursuing the incident further. Okay, so there was some money involved. I have had no subsequent contact with Mr. Trudeau before or after he became prime minister. So she was paid to say that, and that's always good. So what do you call that? Like, that's not a prenuptial, it's an NDA sex agreement. Is there any pictures that are moderated? I want to make sure that they're NDAs in sexual harassment cases. Time Magazine. Yep. Some victims come forward. How NDAs help some victims come forward. So by the way, if you signed an NDA for a sexual abuse case, and there might be some of you out there, like Harvey Weinstein had made people do, just know sometimes you can actually use that NDA as proof in a case. There's an elimination of an NDA in confidential settlements. So sometimes you're able to even publicly go forward with some of this stuff if you go to your lawyer first. So you do not have to just put up with, all right, feeling better.
People get spirited, they get passionate, when politics is involved. And
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's probably true. She's like, I don't know how I felt about Justin Trudeau.
He got carried away. I'm sure she understands.
Trudeau apologized over the. Is this the end of that? No. Yeah. Okay. Over the past few weeks since the news resurfaced, I've been reflecting. We've all been reflecting on past behaviors, he said. I want to try to do it, Trudeau. And as I've said, I'm confident I didn't act inappropriately. But I think the essence of this is people can experience interactions differently, and part of the lesson we need to learn in this moment of collective awakening. People in many cases, women, experience interactions in professional contexts and other contexts differently than men. I don't know, that's not a great Trudeau, but I feel like that's what he was going for. The SNC.
What elementary school and high school did he go to? Let's look at like that history.
Trudeau?
Those institutions.
Some fucking Quebec.
Let's find out.
Somewhere where he had like Indonesian slave children dressed. Oh no, that's Obama. that's Obama. Born in Ottawa, which is adorable. Attended College Jean de Brebeuf and McMigill. McMigill's cool. Come on.
McGill's cool, yeah.
I like McMigill kids.
Yeah, I don't really know its like foundational whatever structure though.
I know a McGill. I'll have a McMigill person on the show soon. I know somebody from Canada. College Jean de Brebeuf is a subsidized private, previously Jesuit, French language education institution. Whoa, it's like Soviet state took over the Jesuit schooling.
I mean, all their Catholic schools are Jesuit, pretty much.
Yeah, but they're saying it's no longer. Now it's been taken over by the state. This is a state-run Jesuit school.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, we like this. This works.
That's brutal, though. I mean, to just take the Jesuit school, I guess that makes sense. The school's located at the 3200 read that to me. Côte Saint Catherine Road. What?
Côte Saint Catherine. So Côte means hill.
Yeah. Côte Saint Catherine. All right. College Jean de Brebeuf. Brebeuf or Brebeuf?
Brebeuf.
Brebeuf.
Jean de Brebeuf.
Jean de Brebeuf. That's better. I like
Jean Brebeuf.
Dude, the accent is like, it's so tropical. And also a boarding school for college students wishing to reside at the college from Monday to Friday, also during the weekends. Trudeau went there. Pierre went there. So it's like a long time old thing that's been going on. And mathematics, science, ethics. Anything else? Anybody notable that if you in these lists of things?
Let's look.
Yeah.
Jean Coutu.
That's pretty French, Jesuit.
Major pharmacist. All the pharmacies Jean Coutu, basically. So it's like we have these sort of monopoly families that pop up here and there, owning everything.
Where's the Jacques? Oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, he's like the Tim Hortons of pharmacies.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Canada kind of focused a lot on like law and learned that from France because I guess they're like the policy kings, and then finance from England. So it's like they try to be strong in like both those schools of thought, I guess.
So wait, this guy's pharmaceutical company, Jean Coutu Group.
Yeah, so if it was all the legal drug peddling goes through him and a few other giants like Pharmaprix.
Whoa. Okay. And so so social medicine, if they need to like get prescription medicine, they do that, or is it other stuff?
Through these people, and there's other
wow. So the Canadian government tax subsidizes Jean Coutu basically to make pills for Canada. Yeah.
They sort of sell generic brand stuff, but they also have the big pharmaceutical companies going through them as well.
Dang.
Shoppers Drug Mart is a good store. No, London Drugs is better. Sorry.
Is it?
So the main competitions are Loblaws, shit.
Oh, worse.
Kind of, yeah.
Crazy. I mean, so you went to this Canadian Jesuit school, then you went to McGill, which I think we've decided is pretty sweet. I like the logo. The logo is trippy. I mean, look at that. That's a crazy. It's just surreal. It'd be good.
What
in the
does that
wintertime.
mean? Like, what's all that rooted in? Like, I don't know anything about that.
I don't know what grand's cunt mean, but that's weird. It's weird. It's a weird logo.
Yeah. Wait, really? I mean,
it's a really weird way of spelling coat.
Wow. That's an interesting choice. Let's see. Is there the shield somewhere here? Does it talk about it? Academics, administration, organization, quotas on Jewish students, Great War, McDonald campus.
They are very political school. Like you learning law, they have a good reputation for debate and politics and stuff.
Red birds. So they removed the Indians and replaced it with pictures of red birds or something. Is that the deal? Okay.
I have no idea. Who is McGill? Like, is that a person? Like, I have no idea.
Oh, that's a good point. We should find
Most
that out.
likely, yes.
That's probably named after a dude named McGill. Let's go to the top. Wow, this is a long. People care about the school. Named after James.
Yeah.
James
I
McGill.
love their schools, dog.
Pretty important. Yeah.
It's where money gets freaking pumped in and out of secret societies, upbringings. That's where a lot of shit goes down, man.
It's the art
Brainwashing,
school.
mind
It's
control.
the
That's where
liberal
it all
arts
goes down.
school. You know, like.
Where it all goes down.
Yeah. If you want to be an artist or interesting, you go to McGill. Like, you don't stick here in BC.
Yeah, you don't fucking go to Yale with the skull and bones.
If you want to be a
Guelph.
doctor or researcher, you stay in BC. But
all the kids I
medical
know,
stuff.
all the kids I know went to Guelph at first. I guess is that not the thing?
Nice. I banged a girl from
Guelph
Guelph,
is sweet. Yeah, I like people from Guelph. Yeah.
and she went to Guelph too. So
A lot
that's a
of-
double check mark.
A lot of liberal arts going on at Guelph. So I don't know if that's like the only thing they do. But all the kids I know that were like, like Ryan Long, went to Guelph. I think
Oh,
they-
really?
Oh,
yeah,
did
yeah,
he?
yeah.
That's not who I banged, by the way. That's definitely.
That's fair. Allegedly. All right. But
People from
okay.
Guelph are really sweet. I don't know. I'm the ones. I
yeah,
know.
no, I've noticed that. I don't know. But okay, so Scottish Canadian McGill, not so sweet, kind of sassy looking, actually. He looks kind of
Interesting. His forehead
Dude.
is
Ugly fucking schmuck.
he's been through some stuff. There's a lot of, and that's that Kids in the Hall Scotland.
Yeah, he looks
right?
like.
The Kids in the Hall is always like the
Mike
Scottish.
Myers,
So there's a lot
or
of
whatever.
Scots going on there. Yeah, McMyers, all these. But okay, so he was elected to the Legislative Assembly of the Lower Canada for Montreal West in 1792. Was appointed to Executive Council of Lower Canada in 1793. Was the honorary lieutenant colonel of the 1st Battalion. Did a lot of. Was he in the Beaver Club? He was in the Beaver
What's that?
Club, dude. Okay, well,
Was that the Canadian Hellfire Club or something?
basically.
I was just gonna say, yeah. Is it?
So
Nice.
beavers are super symbols of chaos. Apparently, I've been looking into this more and more.
Beavers are
I was
so
like,
sweet.
why? What's that? Well, beavers are destructive. They're awesome, but they'll make floods. They'll destroy communities. They brought them to Argentina so they'd have them on the other side just in case of the seasons. And now they've got all these beaver problems in South America that are just destroying areas. But we think of the
Interesting.
Beaver Club as being the fur traders, but they were also, guess what, trading women from France, these Moulin Rouge prostitutes and things that the Catholic Church would pick up. And
Filles
then
du roi.
and teenage girls, you know, that were the orphans or whatever. And then they would sell them to Indian First Natives, and then they would have these families. And in order, it was like the French and the Indians were communicating and trading and getting, you know, in with each other.
That was their technique. Oh my God. They always say it's like a romance-based sort of
I'm sure the French are very romantic.
Or whatever. It's kind of like integrate and crossbreed or whatever is their approach or something. And cross-cultural immersion. So it's sort of like a soft colonialism.
Yeah, make it sound beautiful. Exactly. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I mean, it isn't bad necessarily because, hey, like giving
they need to make movies on that fur trader stuff though, even if it's corrupt and weird.
I think
like
they do, but they're like
cool
X
stories.
and NC-17 is the problem because but I think even in there's some like ladies shows, like what's that one, Outlander? Outlander kind of goes into that to an extent.
Those ladies shows.
Yeah,
those ladies shows.
Just say the L word, dog.
My friend told me to watch that Outlander one, and I was like 2 episodes, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? There's like no content here.
Smell her a little.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what was that favorite show of everyone? Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. That was everyone's favorite show.
Oh yeah, Dr. Quinn.
Oh my God, never watched that.
Dude, my mom was into that show.
What kind of American narrative is it telling?
What the hell?
Dude, because imagine, you know, you're a smart woman, you gotta deal with all these dumb bohunks, and you had to like save America.
Look at Fabio
It's a
over
great
here.
show. It's a great show, actually. My mom was a
I
doctor.
don't know what it was about.
Model and not model/actor.
I was definitely a little biased. I'll give you that. But you know, she had to be creative. It was MacGyver for
She was
women who
MacGyver.
knew what to do in the 19th century. I don't know. Okay, but the Beaver Club.
She's great.
Did we do the Beaver Wars? We just barely mentioned the Beaver Wars last time.
Sure. Well, you got to mention Castorium as well. You know?
Dude, well, what's that? Wait, what?
Oh, Castorium is a sweetener that comes from beaver ale.
Oh, right. Castorium. Yes. So what's up with
They put in
the beaver sweeteners coming from the butthole.
Synthetic like strawberry flavoring, vanilla flavoring.
Strawberry is the main one, dog.
So if you ever see it tastes like it's sweet, basically. So the reason that this happens is because they feed their babies anally. So like they shit it out and then the babies eat it. And that makes it sweet so they can tolerate the taste.
Notes, Melissa.
Dang. So it's like a
Oh, okay. What the fuck is this, dog?
These are like dates or something like that.
So if you ever look at ingredients and you see like a natural strawberry flavoring or whatever, what they really mean is it naturally comes from a beaver asshole.
It's like the anus gland, dog.
I mean, we've all heard this story. We've never actually gone as far as to really look into it. I hope. I mean, maybe this is maybe
you've been looking into some beaver taint.
So I've always heard all my life that there's it's not just artificial flavorings that are weird. It's also the natural flavorings, because the natural flavors, this is Castorium, and they can do this with raccoons and other things as well. But yeah, so this is in perfumes, food additives since the early 1900s. It was a tincture that you could actually put into cakes, and they now make synthetic versions of it. Imagine that. Chanel uses it.
Okay, now I see perfume. Quick story. My mom used to run a shop, and I went through this book of like different inventory she could order and stuff. And even though it was not a product that she was selling or fits her store any goddamn bit, I told her, I need you to order me a whole fucking box of fart spray. And I was in grade 6 or so, and I brought one can to school one day. And just trying to be kind of sneaky, even though my first mistake was telling other kids that I brought it to school. So I think I gave it like one little squirt in the cubby room, the back room where you hang your coats and stuff. Before we even stood up to sing "O Canada," it was a fucking shit show, dog. It was fucking bad news. It was like a huge scandal. People were pointing fingers. People were pointing fingers at other people that weren't even me, even though they knew it was wild, man. So I don't remember what I did. I did something really Jack Bauer, and I like slid instead of like throwing the can in the fucking garbage or whatever, I like slid it across the floor, hoping that like something would happen. And I don't know if someone else got blamed for it or if it just ended up being like, okay, we don't know who did it, but don't fuck around anymore. And I went home and told my mom. She's just howling. She was just laughing. And now I still have 23 out of 24 have a case of that stuff, and I'm like, that stuff fucking stinks. What am I gonna
Right.
do with it? So, yeah.
What are you
God,
gonna
that's
do?
horrible.
Honestly, you just gotta sell it to some kids now. You just
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
True.
pay it to
Yeah.
the next, pay it to the next.
Dude, wait outside of a ATM machine and wait for some kid to come get some money out, and then tell
And
him
then
that
as
you
soon as
gotta
the money's coming out, just
be like, dude, you gotta buy. Somebody left this with me. It's a great deal. This is $1,500 worth of whatever. Yeah, just scam them.
Donate it to like a bunch of thrift stores or
Just
something.
teach a kid a lesson. That's
Oh,
all
that
I'm
would be
saying.
bad.
We got a super chat from Stefan, who I love. We all
Stefan!
love Stefan. You're a wonderful man. And he says,
You're
giant
fucking G.
beavers. They're G. Giant beavers were deadly. Imagine a whole pack. And I'm trying to find the pictures of giant beavers. But like,
a
bro,
rodent.
yeah, I mean, this thing attacking you is no fun.
Oh.
That's not
Bear-sized
even
beaver.
that's not even a giant beaver. They're bigger beavers than this. And there's the sloths and things that were 20 feet tall. But
They're
I used to
iron
love
children,
that
no
show.
joke.
Remember the early Narnia from BBC where they had the beaver?
oh yeah, Narnia's
family?
good. Was that BBC Narnia thing? Is that what you're talking about? BBC
I
Narnia.
loved that when I was a kid. Yeah.
Old school 25 frames a second, right? It was crazy. So
It's
good.
so good.
Dude, if you guys like Narnia and you haven't seen this is the Narnia for you. There's like 20 cassette tapes of this, I'm pretty sure.
I think I've seen that one.
It's
I
good.
remember the girl
So
with
good.
the fucking horns. Yeah.
So Tavistock, it was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lucy.
I say, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Terrifying witch. But yeah,
It was
dude,
so good. But the beaver
giant
family helps
turtles.
Lucy.
this is how big we're talking. We're talking beaver big. And
Oh yeah, well those are giants. That was giant everything back then, so everything was.
Dude,
I don't
those
know.
are action figures there, Andreas.
that's just for proportion, man.
Actual size, bro. Actual
I'll
size.
show you proportion there, box.
But if you think about the beaver wars and like the fact that they killed off all these giant, hey, Bernie's here. What's up, bro? How's it going?
What's happening? How are you?
Bernard!
Hello.
I'm gonna slap my knee. Oh, Canada. That's how I feel tonight. What do you think about giant beavers? I know we kind of tapped the idea of the beaver wars before, but it's like,
Wait, are you talking about
We're
my
not
ex?
talking about your mom's beaver back
No,
there.
just straight up actual giant killer beavers that could eat like redwood trees. And these are the
Megafauna is a serious subject, and it kind of corresponds to like the whole Atlantean Younger Dryas event, in that they all seem to have been wiped out about 12,000 years ago, at the same time as this Younger Dryas catastrophe, and what would have been the wiped out of Atlantis or the previous mega civilization.
Right, so it's like Monster Hunter. We were just going around like killing off
But
these
you
giant
have-
versions.
that's the thing, because you have even into like the last few centuries, maybe like 6 centuries ago for sure, a number of the same things, maybe a little bit smaller. Like they're no longer reaching the height of size that is 25 feet or whatever is going on before this freeze. This great frost makes it impossible for these things to get denser, smaller, and they have to be able to live for shorter periods of time and breed more.
And then that brings up the question, were there giant humans at that time too? If there was also giant sloths, giant beavers, the mammoths, the saber-tooths, all of that. And then we have the rumors of pre-Noah's flood that there were giants in those days.
Dude, Peking man was already way bigger than dudes now. I mean, that's not actual size or anything, but I'm just saying he was taller than you get these. In China, they found the Peking man. Peking man's definitely taller than today's Chinaman. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're supposed to say it like that,
Don't
but
say
people
that,
from
yeah.
China, yeah, China person. Is that the way it goes? But
Like Phil Diamond Lewis up in here.
I meant it the idea that a Han Chinese person today is usually less than 2 meters tall, whereas a Peking Cro-Magnon was usually above 2 meters tall. And the anthropologists have shown that they live decades longer than contemporary humans live, into their, maybe 190 to 100 years old, 120. But we get down to 60, 80 for a lot of humans today. So we have shorter lifespans in general, not just in China, all around the world. And certainly, it's not that they're all tall either. And the entire world's covered in people that are not as tall as, it's like we aren't the apex. Like something, what's that thing with the evolution of man walk, right?
Yeah, we've de-evolved essentially.
We're getting to that point where the computer, was it computer?
Like nutrition density or something.
Boom, there it is.
Difference.
That's the walk. That's the walk we took.
Nice.
Yeah, that's way more accurate.
Except maybe over here, we just have to block out part of it. Okay, can I do? Boom! It started like this. That's what it went like from here to here.
Yeah, right. And were
Making
we
bold statements
on
here,
some
folks.
other higher technology before too that we've de-evolved from, potentially, where we used to have 100% access of the brain functionality instead of the 9 to 10% we have now?
Yeah, what do you think the deal with that is? Because that's people talk about how different parts of your brain light up, but not all of them at once. And then, they've done the studies where they've given psychedelics to people and done CAT scans. Let me see if I can show that, like a LSD MRI, and how so much of the brain starts to light up. But then you wouldn't really want that person driving. So what do you think? I mean, where are we at?
It could be like accessing a higher dimension, essentially, like that Akashic record or some sort of telekinetic sort of abilities or something like that, if it was all connected. And it seems like the quote unquote hallucinations that you get from psychedelics, when in fact it seems like it's actually crossing over to the spiritual realm. And DMT is a great example of that. I haven't done DMT myself yet, but the fact that it's naturally in the body when you're born, when you die, and when you dream, and when you dream, you're crossing over to the dream realm or that spiritual realm.
Totally.
Damn.
Like I view it like it depends on the type of psychedelic. Some psychedelics act as augmenters, like they're cognitive augmenters, like especially something like mushrooms or acid, where it feels like your brain is processing information faster. So when you're sober, you're actually seeing a version of reality that your brain can process. And then when you're under the influence of mind altered states, whether it be through psychedelics or meditation,
Or
whatever,
freaking yoga, right? Because yoga,
Yeah,
where's that picture I just saw? This is your brain
like,
on yoga, Kundalini yoga.
Some of the best psychedelic art I've ever generated came as a result of meditation. And I mean, psychedelics
hyperventilation through lion's breath. If you do the lion's breath and you do the correct Kundalini meditation, you get tryptamine release naturally, because obviously when you dream, you're already releasing melatonins that include tryptamines. So those are just part of your neurotransmitters. So getting your system in line this way also, I think, is better, because you aren't likely to have a bad trip ever if you're doing it this way.
It's true.
So this is key to spiritual alchemy, and that the psychedelic plants that you're using, essentially the spirit of that plant as the gateway into the spiritual realm. And then it's the drug, that plant's interpretation or effects on you, where when you're meditating, you're going through yourself, you're one with yourself in crossing over to that line. That's as pure as it gets, and thus you're not having the influence of the drug. It's your own connected and oneness with the realm and the universe.
Right.
Shulgin's whole thing was that the human body and all of the plants are all part of this system, and the system are doors and keys, because if you opened all the doors of your mind, like if you were to look at a tiger and you think, wow, look at the beautiful pattern on its skin, and you weren't afraid of it, right? That would be bad most of the time. So there's certain times where it's okay to look at patterns of things. Those are the moments where you're supposed to open the doors with the keys in nature, but then they lock back up again, so you're able to live your life. And I think that there's some truth to that. Also, that so many of the things in nature have been destroyed. Shout out to the destroyed rainforest with all the cool plants. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of crazy things that we don't know exist anymore that would have probably been there to save you at some point.
Well, we really need, ethnobotany is an extremely important topic that needs to be taken more seriously. The protection of psychedelic plants, and I guess the history of these things, as opposed to just, destroying all the ecosystems for fucking wood and, making palm trees and shit.
Dude, right. For factories to make plastic fruit.
Is that palm oil or no? I don't know.
Yeah, palm tree. They monocrop palm trees, and then that's just.
But wait, Kurt, we'll do palm trees in a second. Kurt, what do you say?
I was saying, in defense of psychedelics, I think you're far more likely to actually kill the tiger if you're on psychedelics, successfully.
Go berserker,
I think there's some reasonable evidence there. I don't know. I'll let you do the citations, though.
Well, there's that guy who took acid, and then he played a perfect baseball game.
Yeah,
he hit everyone.
Oh yeah, that's
I mean, there's potential for human augmentation using psychedelics, and I think that you know, like we talk about, not we, but people talk about transhumanism, but I think that there's an aspect missing to this whole machine man hybridization, which is psychedelics. And we could actually remove machines from the equation if we really wanted to, and just make psychedelic technology that'll augment humans.
It's not just psychedelic, but conscious technology. And that's what I suspect the higher civilizations and the technology of pre-cataclysm was, where it was more in tune with consciousness and conscious technology as opposed to this machine digital technology that we operate on now.
Like a natural AR system, for example, where you take psychedelics and then you can see like a layered interface with the rest of reality through psychedelics. Like I've known people who took ayahuasca in the jungle, and they would access a neural interlink with the rest of the jungle, and so they would meet, like they would meet jaguars and, you know, other animals that took ayahuasca, who ate ayahuasca. They would meet them in that ayahuasca space.
You've seen also the sound vibration levitation they do, right? Where you can.
Yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah, I got one of those little acoustic levitators actually.
Well, here's a dude with a didgeridoo, though. You don't have
Mark Strong over here.
You don't actually need to have electronics. You can literally just blow in with the didgeridoo. That's not suck. It's not vacuuming.
Mark Steves, I mean, Mark Strong. Mark Steve.
I took DMT once.
That's vibrational levitation, not sucking. That's crazy.
Right, right. And so people think all the time, oh, you need to have all these electronics to do this stuff, but get a stick that the didgeridoo, you know, the didgeridoo is just a piece of eucalyptus that termites have lived inside of, right? And so you could basically the tones that are doing that are available in nature. So it's pretty likely.
The jaw harp is the most original, I think, musical instrument or something, or
the jaw harp.
Yeah, jaw harp. But you can also make the sound with your voice naturally. So there's like Tungusian or whatever singers.
Is a Jew harp the same as a jaw harp?
Yeah, it's called jaw harp.
Easy, buddy.
It's called jaw harp.
I always thought it was called the Jew harp. Yeah, it's a Jew's harp. That's weird.
Well, maybe they used
it. It's also called the jaw harp, though.
They call it the jaw harp now?
Schindler's harp.
It's called lots of things. It's like the oldest instrument.
Ozark harp. Huh.
That's
Ozark. So like this region of Mongolia.
New season Ozark.
It's Tungusia.
It's the Tartars. It's the Tartarian.
It has no relation to the Jewish people.
They can do it today. I'll post the music. This lady, this First Nations lady from there, she knows how to do it with her voice naturally, and she can make animal call sounds, and like it's like trance music, and it's like really epic.
We're all about trance these
days.
My
god, it's so good though. I'm not even joking.
There probably are Jews that play the Jew harp though, right? And even
yeah, I think it's like a lot of people played it. It was like a traditional.
Ron Burgundy on the jazz flute.
So it's a cool instrument. But you think it vibrates? Sorry, say it again, Bernie.
So
that's what your mom said.
Cymatics and like cymatic frequencies, and that like the ancient languages like Aramaic and Hebrew, that they were these full cymatic wave patterns when you spoke. Each vowel, each letter was a full cymatic, where our language today, it's these shattered little ones. It's not that full 3D structure or sound or energy, and that these ancient languages, there was so much more energy and force within it, and that potentially maybe you have like 8 or 10 people in a circle singing these full cymatic frequencies, that could potentially even do levitation all on its own.
Right. What's that thing? The vibration glass shatter? I forget. Harmonic resonance, right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, you got it. It's the harmonic resonance. And so what that is, you're actually getting into a key aspect of my electrolysis, alchemy, and transmutations, and that I suspect that the resonant frequency of any matter, any element, that when you put in this cymatic or resonant frequency of the specific element into these alchemy reactions, that's what's able to transmutate the element from one atom into the next. And it uses the atomic hydrogen produced in the electrolysis to bond with the metal. But that's a whole more bigger spiel to properly explain for another show.
Well, it's an interesting idea though, that you can hit a glass, the tone it makes, you play that same tone back at it, that vibration is what the tone's from. So you're making it vibrate even harder, and then eventually it shatters. And you can do this to concrete bricks, right? And that's
you can do this to human bodies.
9/11 over here.
Oy
But,
vey.
you know what? I mean, it makes one wonder what these different frequencies can actually do to a body,
Oh
to a
yeah,
mind,
dude, this
to
is interesting as hell.
you know, like consciousness itself. I've seen. I know that there's some. Let's say call it pseudoscience, but like there's some research about how cymatics can affect, and not only cymatics, but also like, you know, I guess the power of language itself, how it can affect different parts of matter and organic matter. Like this person,
Exactly.
he was yelling at rice or something, and I think what he did is he was yelling at water and freezing it and saying and writing positive things on rice, and so he would check the different results that would happen. And you know, this is stuff that people have tried to discredit, but I mean, there's no denying that if you say take a child and you keep telling them I hate you over and over, eventually they're going to get rotten. You know, like no matter what, eventually on the inside they're going to start feeling it. And if you tell them thank you, I love you, it's going to have a different effect.
Her.
Dude, so
Can you
gross.
see this?
Oh,
I'm gonna get my mom to try this.
Oh wait, you can't read
She'll
it.
do it.
No, I'll
If you
spotlight
want,
it.
you can put it inside
OLENA.
Go back, show us.
Oh, it's
I spotlighted.
blurry.
Oh yeah, no, it's good. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, all right. Go ahead and try to read that to us.
Olena Utai, so OLENA, and then her last name is UUTAI.
Okie dokie, eh?
And then there's really produced stuff with her, but like the less produced stuff is really powerful. But
what does she do? She does some somatic music. What?
She does this traditional music. Pretty amazing.
Stuff, right?
Yeah, I think there's some other bands that do this kind of thing too, this kind of trance music too. But
if I can get away with just like 2 seconds of it.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe on like a non. So she does like breath work stuff, and then like.
All right, that's rad. I don't want to.
It just like, and it escalates, cool. And then it's like it's like you can't think anymore. You're like ready to just
Dude,
you know what?
The consciousness to a higher level.
It sounds like Matrix, Burning Man, 1997, 99.
It's so
trance
good.
Music, yeah.
It's like the second Matrix when they're going down into the club, and it's like,
dude. So you don't even need like all these synthesizers because you can get organic instruments that can make this techno. That's pretty organic earth techno.
The coolest.
Is there a vagina harp? What do we got? One of them going on?
Probably. What's his name? Wait,
Schmel's like, no.
You have to pay a lot of money for that. I mean,
Vince, you sent me this about the Never-Ending Story, a TV series.
Yeah,
Nelvana is involved.
Fucking ends.
Can you believe it? Never-Ending Story is the Canadian Never-Ending Story now.
Yeah.
They went.
What?
Right.
Come on, that's the pride. I wasn't even gonna see this until I saw that. Now I'm like, okay. All right, I know.
So it's like a watered down version of Never-Ending Stories they made on a cheap budget. But
is it out already?
Oh yeah, no, this came out in the 90s or early 2000s.
Oh no, I thought you meant wait. That already exists?
Yeah, this is not the new one. This is 1995, 1996.
Oh, the blonde kid. I did see this. Let me see. Hold on. Wait.
I never watched
Just write TV show.
Looks pretty good.
Oh, no, it's an animation?
No. It's a live action one. It's a live action one. It's a live action one.
Watching CBC as a kid because I didn't have cable.
Yeah, CBC had good programming.
Loser.
Dude, where do I even find
wait. A variety of programming.
This guy right here, right? This kid? That guy?
This is the second movie actually. This is Never-Ending Story 2.
Is this the where am I?
I remember it because I took acid and watched it.
TV.
What about the second Wizard of Oz? That one's good too.
Oh, that one is fucked. Return to Oz is something else.
Is this it? No, this isn't it, right?
This is the TV series. Yeah, this is it. This is the one.
Whoa, Tales from the Never-Ending Story, 2001 to 2002. That's different though, because it said 1995, and in this thing it says 1995. But this is the animated.
That's it. The 1995 one is the animated show. This is the live action one.
Gotcha.
So this is Canadian made.
Was this good? It already looks kind of interesting.
My girlfriend loves it, but you know it's a low budget Canadian TV. So.
Oh, I remember that girl with the hair and the thing. I remember this. Yeah.
Atreyu is very, very white in this one though.
The irony being that this.
I thought it was pretty white before.
Dog.
Wait, Divulgence. What did you? Or who said the irony? Was that Bernie or Divulgence?
Yeah. That's the irony of the Never-Ending Story that got canceled.
Oh yeah.
That looks like that
Love it.
dragon that they
Okay, it
found.
lives on. It lives on. That's
There's the
thing.
turtle. I love it.
Is there any? Do you know anything dark? Was there any like particularly dark episodes or anything like that?
Oh, no, the movie got much darker. This one just kind of continues the whole theme of, I mean, I guess it's dark. It starts off with the kid's mom dying. So, you know, it
that's pretty
starts
dark.
off pretty
French.
brutal. Pretty
I mean, you
French.
can't really beat how German it is. Like the Moonchild ritual, that's like the Jack Parsons thing, right? He has to say her name. He says Moonchild Marjorie Cameron, Moonchild Jack Parsons.
Right.
You know, that's the reference there that they're trying to make with the Never-Ending Story. Oh, this is an album. But also Murdoch Mysteries. What's this all about? It was on CBC.
My mom watches that.
Brown
That's all.
this
straight
is-
up, bro.
This is a show
pictures.
for moms, basically.
Yeah, I didn't watch this.
Oh, it's a lady show. Okay. And it's
Yeah,
like cool.
you know, like
Yeah.
the proper Canadian good guy who solves mysteries, and you know, he says like Bob's your uncle, and you know.
Oh, he's very British. Dude,
Yeah.
I was watching Kids in the Hall recently.
Oh,
and
did
I
you
had
ever watch the movie Kids in the Hall? Brain Candy.
Brain Candy? I love Brain Candy
Candy
is
is
all you
amazing.
need. If you've never seen Kids
Oh.
in the Hall, just watch Brain Candy.
Brain
Don't
Candy.
start
It
at the
is.
beginning. Get yourself hooked on Brain Candy.
I mean, talk about fucking MK Ultra, right? Like,
Yeah.
Man, I
this
bet
is
they
on
couldn't
point.
even play Brain Candy on
You can actually
TV.
find it on YouTube for free, if I'm not mistaken.
Dude, we need to address this. That's actually a good point. Okay, let me see if I can do this somehow logically. Okay, Peking Man, drugs. Yeah, no, this will be easy. All right. Basically, Kids in the Hall, which made a show recently, and now Britney's kids call it the Kids in the Hall moment because they walked in and then, like, they're like, get out of the car, and then they were all naked, like 60-year-old Scottish Canadian dudes, which was a lot.
There's
for
a
these
lot
little
of
kids.
dicks. There's a
There's
lot
a
of
lot
dicks.
for these little kids.
Really?
So they call it the Kids in the Hall moment. But for me, the Kids in the
Yeah.
Hall moment should have been more like, you know, the date they do with the chicken or something like that. I mean, the early 90s Kids in the Hall is just hard
Actually,
to
Kids in
beat.
the Hall. Kids in the Hall did the first Tenacious D. Like Tenacious D just copied one of their sketches, and it's
Dude.
basically like the same.
And every
thing.
single one of these dudes' name ends with a Mac something, except for the
Mhm.
dude whose first name is Scott. So I mean, we all know they're Scottish Canadians. We get it. We get the point.
And they were very ahead of their time with cross-dressing and transgenderism.
I was
and all
actually
that.
gonna say the opposite. I was gonna say they are very traditional, like British, Scotch, Shakespearean actors, right? Because in Shakespeare's time, the Scottish plays were always men dressed as women.
For sure.
So they're just the most traditionalist British actors you could get.
Oh yeah.
That's
oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
but hey, yeah. So they make this movie about brain candy. It's a scientist group in a pharmaceutical company that figure out that if you can record the happiest moment of someone's life, you can get the same chemical responses from this pill from then on out, and then it would deal with depression. Unfortunately, it doesn't get tested very well, and you know, Kids in the Hall made it. So there's all kinds of problems there that ensue. But they, you know, the Cancer Boy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Oh,
Cancer
yeah,
Boy.
I forgot about Cancer Boy.
Yeah,
How
but
could
they
you forget?
But they knew, like the Kids in the Hall knew the whole time that this drug was dangerous. And then the big pharmaceutical company, which we now know is this, what's it called? Coot? Yeah,
I don't think
Cotu.
this is the same one as in the
Literally
show. though.
I
sounds
don't
the
know.
story of
Starting
Oxycontin.
to sound connected a little bit. I mean,
I
maybe
will
not.
say, as far as like comedic history goes, like Canadian comedy is rooted in British comedy. Like it's pretty standard. Audience to watch British television, and like it's kind of like a thing. I don't know. I worked in video stores.
I'm
and it was,
huge
like, a
on
thing.
the BBC stuff.
Yeah, like
lately.
you watch British stuff here, and that's kind
British
of the
stuff is
standard.
pretty killer, man.
And it's
Yeah,
so it's
that's
our
not
comedy's not
funny.
rooted in vaudeville.
Or
It's not rooted in
Canada's-
American
Well,
vaudeville. It's
Canadian
With the
rooted in
exception,
the
with the
British
exception of Quebec.
theater.
With
Yeah,
the
Yeah.
exception of Quebec. Quebec doesn't have the same
yeah,
comedic
history.
culture.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
our culture, of course, the roots of it, but like even the
Right.
modern execution, and we try to bridge the gap here and there with certain movies, but all in
There's
all,
some
Quebec-
vaudevillian connection with Montreal, maybe more.
Did
I
you
gotta
guys-
bounce, guys. Sorry to interrupt. I gotta bounce.
Oh,
So,
yeah?
Adios.
I gotta take off a few minutes early, so I gotta run out. But Xirtus, I'll send you a message later about all those things we were talking about in the pre-show.
Jordan, let me pull up Divulgence podcast for you before you disappear. People, you can
Cool.
go to the YouTube and subscribe to Divulgence podcast right up
Yeah.
in here. And you can see MK Canada's as well as a number of interesting episodes of interviews and things that Jordan's doing. So
And
we'll
we
see
got a new episode coming out tonight, so
Oh,
check
epic.
it out, guys.
legit. And we'll see you
Yes.
next week, man. So yeah, we'll definitely
See you
have
next
some more.
week, and we'll start gathering some more kind of projects and stuff to prepare, so we have some really cool stories to kind of present to everyone. And
word.
Go on
Yeah,
the
we're-
Discord, please.
that's
Yeah.
we're gonna start.
Share
So
in
we're
the
gonna everyone
MK
listening,
Canada
we're gonna
thing.
start building up this segment of Xirtus' empire, so to speak. He's kind of asked me to come in, and we got some Canadians to help. So we're gonna do what we can to make this an awesome,
right.
another amazing show. So
Dude, and get up in that
I'm promoting
MK
West
Canada
Coast stuff.
Discord and like connect it all up together so we can get all.
That's
And if you
right.
guys have thoughts on Canada, you know where they go. So yeah. All right. See you
okay,
soon,
we'll see you guys next week. All right.
Peace.
Take care. Have a great one.
Peace and
Bye-bye.
love. Eh?
Bye, Jordan.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers, Jordan.
Bye.
I have to interject quickly before the subject change is that brain candy sounds an awful lot like the opiate epidemic and what they did with oxytocin or cotin, and how it literally impairs the brain to the stimulus of the happiest moments of your life when you take it, and that it rewires the brain into thinking that that drug is the be it all and end all of life, and that nothing else you can do, whether it's eating, climbing a mountain, hanging out with friends, having sex, whatever, there's nothing as good as the release of the is it dopamine or whatever it is with that the chemical stimulates in the brain from the oxycontin, and that they released it onto the market claiming it wasn't addicting at all, and well, it's killed how many millions of people and ruined how many millions more's lives.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it does seem like that. Although it is it's like a psychedelic or a anti-schizophrenic or something like
Apparently it's
that.
dopamine.
It's a painkiller. It's
No, not
Yeah.
oxycodone. I mean, in the brain candy, the drug that they have is it's more like it's like a anti-schizophrenic or something weirder, even because it's more. But yeah,
Like a
opiates
benzodiazepine
will,
or something, like the new
no,
one
because
that's
it
killing everyone, or not killing them, but making them disoriented.
No, it's so let me see if I can find. And an unrelated story, a woman pleads for the return of mother's ashes that were in her stolen car in Montreal. French Canada is different. Okay. Brain Candy movie.
Special.
Brain Candy movie. Basically, they've got this dude who's kind of like Lorne Michaels. He's like, right. Well, if this drug will work, can we make it blue? And then they would add like, that's all they care about. They don't care about anything else. What color the drug is, what it looks like, etc. And then they're trying to get an over-the-counter version of it for everybody, and what they find is all of a sudden the dudes who are like, I hate happiness and I do death metal, all of a sudden he's like sun and happiness, because the drug just like wires you wrong and makes you crazy. So
Right.
everyone's not like sitting down in their homes after falling on the snow with like nerve damage from opiates. It's worse. It's more like they're under mind control. It's full MK Ultra. There is the F happy, he says, before he has the drug.
Wait, I wanted to do a poll. So it's like, out of everyone under the age of 5, did you watch censored television or uncensored television? And were you allowed to watch a lot of television?
Is censored television a show?
Like no one, no, like
'Cause that's the
no,
only
there was
show I
no
missed,
parental
baby.
control. Like you
Yeah,
were
I
just
know.
sort of free
No, yeah,
falling in front of the
for
TV
sure.
before the age of 5.
It was very limited.
Yeah, under the age of 5, like you were just sort of like around, and it was always on, and like
I had
who
this
knows
cool
what's
thing
going
called
on.
Prime Star satellite television back in the
or
90s.
were you like not allowed to watch TV? Like I had friends that weren't allowed to watch anything.
Yeah.
Like they
not
grew up not
until
watching
that happened to me
anything.
later in life. So when I was
And I
in,
think
like,
that they're like free. They're actually free in some ways. 'Cause
I-
their
I,
brain
uh,
doesn't work in this like weird.
they weren't indoctrinated
Yeah.
by the high vision.
Yeah.
I see that kind of.
And it's like they're not like constantly triggered by things, or like I don't know. They're kind of
Yeah, that's fair.
Polarized by the divide and conquer.
all right, I would
strategy.
agree. You should keep
Yeah.
kids away from computers and stuff till they're 11 or something. But for me, it was like third or fourth grade. My mom got upset that I was so into TV, and she took away satellite TV. And so then all of a sudden, I didn't have TV till like 8th grade. So for like 4 years, it was a really weird contrast to have had not just TV, but had satellite in the 90s. So I could see like Russian TV. I could watch,
that way.
Canadian stuff. I could turn the dish and watch stuff in South America. Like early 90s satellite was crazy. You could watch.
It was free then, like for
Yeah.
freedom of information, essentially back then.
But I also got it, and then my dad had an account with like the American stations. So there was like Cartoon Network had just started, and you
that's a
you
good
could watch
channel.
the entire history of how cartoons were made. So I got like the best, I think, of TV at that period. But then they took it all away, and then
When
But-
I was a teen, my parents kind of had a freak out thing too.
But
Like,
I
where
got
they
it
were,
back
like,
in 2001.
taking
so
everything
obviously-
away. You're too
Yeah.
spoiled. Kind
That's
of
the
thing.
worst idea. Once you have the thing to lose the thing, I don't know. The
Yeah.
better thing to do. So we had a guy who was talking about in the Veda, Krishnamurti was trained by Theosophists to, if he liked anything, they would just give him so much of it he hated it eventually. Like peanut butter. You like peanut butter? Nothing but peanut butter all day until you hate peanut butter.
That's right. That's
and you
how
can do
you
that
train
with
a
video
shaman.
games and movies and just get them to not care about it.
Baby them. That's how you train shamans. You baby them. They're to go through like a regression, a full regression. It's like really interesting. It's like a transformative thing.
Interesting. Where do I find out about that? Shaman regression.
I'll try to find something. It's like,
Obscure.
yeah, it's like from childhood. It's like when they're, I don't know. I've just heard stories. I'll try to find the stories I've heard.
Well, I
How
know
to
like-
become a shaman.
I know
Well,
a
no,
woman,
it's just part of certain traditions and certain, that's like
makes
baby. And then through full regression, you take care of them completely. And then through full regression, it's like they come out the other side with like a animal spirit guide. And then it's like, then it's the part of their spirit. And then it's like, they're able to, it's like they full, I don't know, they go into full, I don't know, trance or something, and then come out the other side, I guess. Yeah.
That's probably how you produce the most DMT inside your brain. That's
Yeah,
that's
it's
my
like-
take on it.
Just imagine every single one of your needs were met. Like you never had to think about a need ever. Like what kind of,
You'd have to create
where
new
your
needs.
brain would go. Where would
Yeah.
your brain go? It would keep going into more needs, but then eventually it would burst or something.
I met
Well,
a-
it's like there's a
Another
slippery-
plane of thinking. Like,
There's like, you can think about like higher and higher. So there's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Maslow.
well,
hierarchy.
apparently that isn't even really like a fully fledged, like thought out thing. Like he didn't finish his thoughts on that. And
Right.
it was like not really meant to be a pyramid at all. But
But
it
if you
just
get
sort
to
of
the
ended
point
up
of
that way and
if-
was co-opted by like
Yeah, it shouldn't be a
business
pyramid.
models or something. Yeah. And then apparently there's history on this. He was informed on some of this stuff. I think it was by a creation guy that was kind of like a nutty healer in his like community.
Really?
I have to find this too. I'll find it and post it.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And it was like the guy's last name, he's like American, but it was like this nutty guy that like was a healer in some kind of hospital he worked in or something. And this guy like told him about these kind of important things to spirit, I guess, you know.
Well, if you can see at least the value of, if you keep people from self-actualization by taking away these lower things, it works. You can keep people from self-actualizing. But if you give
Yeah.
them all this stuff so they can focus on self-actualization, they might not actually know how to, if you give it to them, they might not know how to get there themselves. And that might not be the worst thing, because there's so many other people down here that can support them, that you could have a caste system, and maybe they come up with solutions that, or they come up with ideas that people self-actualize along the way to reach these ideas, which would get them out of the pyramid. That's like a Buckminster Fuller kind of solution.
And they
But-
took away community. They have manufactured communities, like forced communities nowadays, like an office.
Oh,
building or
that's
something.
exactly what the COVID lockdowns were.
Yeah,
Was
it's just
distancing
like-
people from people,
Yeah.
annihilating the human interaction of it
Yeah.
all.
They just really want to manipulate our communities and be like, this is your community. And it's like, this is not, this is where I come to get money and go home, you know, like it's very tricky.
Mhm.
They want us to be afraid of each other, right?
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
you can't see each other's faces. You can't trust them. Oh, be afraid.
But we got
Please.
real
and not
enemies
speak
that
the
we
same
should share.
language and make each other uncomfortable.
How are
and
we worried about? How are we worried
paranoid
about
towards
each
one
other?
another.
How are we worried about each other when we could be worried about bears? You know what I mean? Like two women who were together, even in solidarity,
bear.
suffered serious injuries after black bear attack in Canada. This was 6 hours ago, probably a little bit longer.
Back to a black bear.
You know.
That's
Annalyn
huge.
Xirtus Bartolome, that's a great name, and her teenage
At least
son
a
Lasse
grizzly. Come
Canoy
on.
and her niece were walking in the Wolverine Trail, and the boy got away. Is what it sounds like. I don't know. I'm just gonna guess. He
Well,
just
at least
ran
they-
'cause he's smart.
At least they didn't get hit by a Wolverine.
A black bear was already charging at them by the time they noticed the animal. According to the conservation officer
Scary.
service, the group attempted to escape, but they could not outrun the bear, with the bear eventually attacking the two women. Bartolome's son punched the bear, oh, good for him, and hit it with a stick while it attacked the women, only be knocked off to the side, resulting in bruised ribs. According to the fundraiser in the family's name, the teenager and the niece were eventually able to get to the ski club cabin and call 911. I mean, so like, what were they supposed to do?
Crazy though,
There's
like a
nothing-
black bear. Like I've encountered so many black bears before, and like they're usually timid, afraid, small little guys.
Right.
It's the
Make loud
grizzly you should be
noises.
afraid of.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you're like 4 feet tall. It's like being attacked by an Ewok, but he's angry. Why? Is it because it's the season? Is it hibernation is about to start? What?
Typically, it's usually if they're protecting their young or if they're like starving. But I mean, that's so rare that like, black bear attacks is super rare. So usually you just kick them in the box and scream really loud and then they run away. And that's pretty much it.
Dang.
I mean, they get scared of cats, like.
Right. So I mean, like,
there's really cute videos. Yeah. Of them.
What are we supposed to do about? Oh, let's look at that bear, cat. That's got to be worth at least a couple of likes. Come on, you guys love to watch bears and cats.
Oh, black bear, black bear.
Scared
yeah.
by a cat.
There we
go. There it is. Hold on. Badass cat scares away bear. I'll take it. Okay. And then here he goes. Yeah. Come on, cat. Do it. Do it, cat. Do it. Scare him. Scared a bear.
There
it is. I'm a cat.
Have you ever seen a hairless bear?
That's the black bear that I've seen and experienced.
Yeah.
Hairless bears are terrifying.
What is a hairless
Where
bear?
are they from?
Just look at images.
Oh no. That's horrifying.
They're
have mange
scary as fuck.
It's like a sloth.
Usually it's from old age or a skin condition, but they look like they're from hell.
Wow.
So sad.
It's brutal.
They look so different.
You can imagine them evolving to be that way though in a hot climate. They start to lose their hair.
You'd think they look more like dogs based on the way their fur makes them look, but in the end they just look like
Look at
these
their
weird
tiny little heads.
It looks like
dogs.
Dr. Evil's next pet in the next Austin Powers.
Oh man. Yeah. A bald bear. That's horrifying.
Maybe those are those like people think they see those like human wolves or whatever.
The chupacabra.
Chupacabra, like maybe it's just a bear with mange or something. Like
I don't know. I think that there's probably some remnants of older species that are still lingering in the forest somewhere.
But it's like, wouldn't they find like a body? Like this is the thing with the giants too. It's like, wouldn't they find like one body?
The question is, would they cover it up? It would change so many things.
Because look up the Smithsonian stories on how many giants' bones they've dumped in the ocean. Like there's at least 100, I think, of like the 1800s newspapers,
right?
Showing all the giants that have been found, and then the Smithsonian comes, takes them, and destroys them or dumps them.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it's funny because the Smithsonian. I talked to a guy at the Smithsonian, and he said actually that they didn't destroy them. The Native Americans said those were on their stolen bones from their burial mounds. And so they were forced to return them and everything, which is like both, a great cover and like an awesome PR spin. It's like it's perfect. They did it both at once, but they didn't. Yeah. We had the bones, but we can't just go around taking people's bones.
Perfect cover up.
Yeah. It seems like a Canadian kind of things. Like, yeah, of course we do, but why would we?
Like the Niagara Pharaoh back to Egypt.
Yep. Yeah.
I know in Croatia their folklore has giants as well living in the mountains. So
yeah, what's the deal with the Croatian giants? There's
there's like a thing in the mountains, and then the fairies too, like that teach children plant medicine or something.
And then there's like the Spanish island with giants, or like also like the UK island with giants.
Yeah, it's like everywhere these giants.
And then Native Americans with the taller giants with 2 rows of teeth that were supposed
Are these the people who are they the people who fuck angels?
Who knows, right?
Are
they the angels?
Nephilim, not Neberu. The Nephilim.
Well, I was trying to remember the name of the giants in Ecuador, right? Is it the Forest of Giants or the Jungle of Giants? Something like that.
Yeah,
there's a place.
The giant pyramids that they found as well, with the huge hammers that like only a giant could lift and stuff like that in the middle of the Ecuadorian jungle.
Right.
I feel like
that was it. That's in a place they call like the Forest of the Giants, or I forget what the trees of the giants.
The revelation that this is real, I'm not saying it is, but let's say it was revealed that this ended up being real. This is the sort of paradigm shaking discovery that would be too much for a lot of people to handle, because it would confirm too many things. People would draw parallels. They would be like, oh, this is evidence that like the Bible is real, for example. But like it's the same problem with, say, admitting that there's aliens. It would change too many things, and it would shake up
the collection.
Yeah, this is a pretty good one. The father,
without
Crispy,
knowing this stuff, already murder other humans for weird ass reasons.
For sure, but it's about control systems.
Yeah.
Have you seen Father Crespi's collection of Ecuadorian ruins that are this
caves, right?
The
I think is where they found.
Yeah, and then this is the left one, which is from Ecuador. The right one is an Assyrian picture. They've got holding a little thing. He's got his arm reached up, it's broken. Similar background, like really uncanny, similar stuff, like the same kind of iconography in the background.
Stuff, and then there's so many. Like I've done a couple videos on the Crespi collection. The golden tablets that they have there pretty much confirms Edgar Casey's golden tablet stories and whatnot. And that when you look at the languages on some of these facts from the Crespi collection, they look like Proto-Greek, Proto-Sumerian, and Proto-Sanskrit writing on a lot of them. And it's like these are clearly from before or maybe pre-Atlantean or like Atlantean pre-cataclysm or just after the cataclysm sort of thing, and stored away on the other side of the planet.
Right. And it's all like Pangea era stuff.
Well,
connected.
So there's that idea, and then there's the Mormon one, Mormon sea route.
It also kind of confirms the Mormon story of the golden tablets in North America, right?
If you do the Pacific,
but I mean, how many? Okay, look up how many cults today there are that were like formed in the last like 50 years or something. It's like so easy to be the person who comes with like new information to like a group of people without it. And be like,
that's the thing. So if you look at
proliferate like a whole culture, you know,
these pictures of what America looked like between the
freeze, it was just one boat of Syrians, you know.
But it's the thing. If you've got, so this is this is North America at a point when Turtle Island is moved, right? And so the idea of frozen over, the major defrost that would have happened after 11 to 12,000 years ago is even a bigger deal than the freeze. And so in the last 1,000 years, we've had a complete changeover from it being crazy amounts of swamplands, marshlands, lakes, rivers, and these huge systems that you could easily get from Labrador in through the Hudson into the middle of America to where Missouri is, by the way. This is supposed to be where Eden was to the Mormons. They think it was Missouri, which is, it's weird, but and you look at the Crustacean Seaway, you're like, wait a second, that's literally what our maps show. It's a weird choice to pick the exact location. And if they're able to communicate, it's not just through walking. Sending boats is a way better way to communicate. So the idea of there being a giant naval trade network that existed at this time, that's what is talked about. And they've got all of these different Mormons who've done these trips where they get in a boat that they make out of Kentucky rafts and they follow the natural currents, and the natural currents will take you specifically to these places that are all mentioned in both the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Sumerian text, the many prophecies talk about the Eastern connections there. And then there's all this crazy stuff. I'm just trying to find right now about the triads with the Japanese were all along the West Coast and their settlements for the last 1,000 years. And you get into Peru and you see like the Peruvian Sufis. Let's see if I can find that. Peru. Sufi. Let me see. There's got to be somewhere there. Sufism in Peru exists. I'll tell you what, because there's a lot of Arabs that ended up in Peru because after the Spanish were kicking them out, they were like, yeah, I'll go on a boat and bring Catholicism as far away from here as possible. And they didn't. They just brought Islam and Sufi, you know, which isn't even Islam. It is, but it's a magical older thing. Sufi comes from Sophie, from the Sophia, from the Gnostics. So there's all kinds of crazy stuff that's going on where the communication is being put together again because of boats, not because people are just walking. It's a weird thing. We think, oh man, someone walked 1,000 miles. Here, where's that map? 500 miles, island, Ireland. Have you ever think of this? I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more.
Yeah, that's plays every summer at the pool.
Yeah, but like do a map of Ireland. You literally can't. You know what I mean? This is 500 miles outside of London. You know what I'm saying? It's not possible.
Walk in circles.
That's a pet peeve of mine about that song. I don't know. Kurt, what do you think about songs that say things that aren't true?
Oh, those fucking songs, man.
Yeah, nothing is real, so everything is valid. No, I had a very deep thought on whether or not we can even tangibly assume anything is real at all. But I wholeheartedly believe that we only have a symbolic interpretation of the phenomena around us, and we can never truly have a grasp of literal things in life at all. Like, it's all an interpretation, and that's why any scientific evidence is just, it's kind of moot, because like we're processing any objective and scientific evidence through a filter that is primitively made and biologically and instinctively through symbolism. Like that's the only interpretation that we have.
Yeah, that's the typical musician's answer, though, but about all
Right?
thoughts.
And this is 500 miles, and this is 500 miles more. You know what I
That's
mean? I
why,
don't know.
but that's why we have to take. That's why we have to take everything as like a sort of abstraction. You know, like
Yeah.
those are. What if we change it to 500 kilometers? You know, maybe that's doable. You know. We'll see.
What are
Yeah.
the lyrics of the song anymore? I probably haven't.
When I
heard
wake
them.
up, yeah, I know I'm gonna be the man who wakes up next to you. Don't make me do this. I don't know.
And I could walk 5. Yeah, I remember all of it, sort of, I think, but I don't remember what does he discover? But
This isn't really a Canada
Be
story.
the man. That would walk
Isn't it a
1,000
Canadian song?
miles.
Is that like a Newfoundland
your
song?
that's a
like
Canadian
a-
song.
It's a Forrest Gump. Song.
Our
Plot-
song.
Klaatu is a Canadian band, but this is I mean we jumped to Canada again, but I also was thinking of this octopus
Klaatu?
thing. Yeah, you know Klaatu?
Oh yeah, no, yeah.
Klaatu's rad.
I saw
This-
on your show once.
Yeah, they thought that they were the Beatles and they weren't. Yeah, Uranus, anus, something like that. Okay, but this is not necessarily Canada, but hear me out. It is. Okay, so the Octopus Inslaw Promise software scandal and those killed by its tentacles. Okay, so when we think of Promise, that's like the new Patriot Act. It's a bigger Patriot Act though, because it involves Canada and talks about the octopus, the Inslaw Promise software scandal and those killed in the wake of its tentacles. First time ever, new details revealed the decades-old murder of 2 journalists, a CIA intelligence operative, an NSA whistleblower, and the imprisonment of another CIA whistleblower. And you're like, okay, well, but what about the RMCP? Royal Canadian Mounted Police spies. And if you go and you start looking into the spy, let me see if I type in Promise, is that going to work? Yeah, you can basically find, there you go. Is Promise spying on Canadian spies? Royal Mounted Police are currently conducting an investigation of the software package called Promise, blah, 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 blah. The point is, yes, Canada is in, I mean, of course, right? Why would this only cover one part of the internet?
Right?
Yeah,
So
it's 5 eyes, 7 eyes. It's going to cover the whole internet. And so, story of Inslaw Promise software, forerunner, Edward Snowden whistle blew kind of the idea of this. It's still going on. Letter doesn't show the DOJ was involved in the plot in Inslaw in 1985. That's how long they've been connecting all of the networks across the ARPANET. In 1999, British BBC journalist Gordon Thomas published a authorized history of the Israeli Mossad, in which he included very detailed admissions by Rafi Eitan in his first meetings with Earl Bryan in Iran, dudes who ran off to Canada. So there's a huge spy ring that's connected right now. And it's interesting because the idea of having laws is usually that your state, your country has laws and you have to, but if the laws aren't harmonized, if they're different, all they have to do is collect information and decide, okay, well, we're going to send this over to your guys if it's useful to you. But in
right,
general,
they keep the server in a different country, so then legally it's not spying on their own country because it's the other countries, but they're still running it. Sort of.
Yeah.
loophole.
You haven't broken any laws in our server, and my server hasn't broken any laws in your country. You know what I mean? And so they're able to just keep records of everyone's activities into now. Wow, the MegaNet's still working. Good for them. I don't know if I should be downloading this. I'm going to move back. But yeah, so then there's a $9.9 million contract with the government for the company to install Promise as the Justice Department's case manager software in 94 U.S. attorney offices. In other words, using the software entirely for free, kind of the way Google made its way into every one of these administrative systems. That was connected to this as well. And then let's see, Bar Inslaw owner Hamilton distributed a report on Inslaw scandal to each of the members of the committee. And this is the last we really heard of it. I think this was like 2001 or something like that, until 2019 when we got a Snowden report on the situation. So again, what do you think about Canada and America and this like Five Eyes? Like there's this, it feels like all these we're just little states in this bigger government, you know, this internet government.
We're definitely an occupied, subordinate. What's the word I'm looking for? Whatever the heck. We're part of an empire. We have no free will, no free decisions of economy or anything. Like we're still part of the colonial empire of England, and even more so under the US. Where it's like if Canada was free, we would have our own oil refineries and gas refineries instead of having to ship it down to the US only to buy it back at 10 times the price. It's insane.
Dude.
Just look at who's on our dollar and you'll get a clue, you know.
Yep. Dollar, Canada, I should say Queen, because it's going to be the king pretty soon, probably.
Oh
but yeah.
God, we're putting another pedophile on the back of our money.
Yeah, she's on our 20, she's on our
time.
Oh my God.
To remember that the dollar's raping you every time you spend it.
Well, we're about 2 hours deep. Is there any last things you want to close with? And then I'll give you guys links to where they can find more of your content.
The picture behind me, the Medicine Hat Badlands Guardians, I am supposed to be going down there next weekend to investigate this place, try to find the geoglyphs, the megalithic lines of stones that plot out to everywhere else in the world, all the other ancient sites. I've got a drone that I'm going to fly up, hopefully high enough to get pictures of these faces and investigate that. So that's what I've got on the trip.
Yeah, dude, that sounds legit. You're going to hit us up. I hope we'll be able to see some of that research. That sounds really cool. And also, I'll send you on Twitter by any chance.
Yes, at BURNEYEINDS3R1. It's supposed to be Burn Eye Minds Third Eye, but they cut it off at Burn Eye Minds 3R1 for some reason.
Burn Eye Minds. Found you. Okay, cool. Let me pull that up. Boom. Get yourself. I just followed you. Let's get in touch. I'll get you into the MK Canada group so we can get some more planning going, because like there's some cool stuff that you're researching that's rad. And also your YouTube channel. Is it Burn Eye?
I've got two. So I've got Crypto Alchemist,
which
that's
is
right, the larger one. And then Burn Eye is mine, Third Eye one. You just pulled up there too.
I'll go back and forth. So you can get up on the Crypto Alchemist right here. Make sure you like and subscribe. There's some rad videos. He's doing some really cool interviews as well. And check out the Burn Eye. And then what about you, Vince? You got a thing?
I'm currently building a Patreon page because I'm working towards a comic book. And so shortly this will be ready. But for now, you can always find me on my art page on Facebook.
Right.
Stuff to come there. I posted the link in chat.
Legit. Okay, hold on. Boom, 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 boom. And then you can also, guys, join the APM, and you can post crazy memes that are awesome. Here's a good one. Economic trolley problems. The middle track has your friends and family. Upper one has a greedy rich guy who also employs hundreds of people. Lower one has homeless people who would benefit from your tax money. Which way are you pulling the lever? I like these. These are a lot of fun. And so also American Time Machine, Kurt, we're going to be doing, and you can, right here, you can find yourself the links to Vincent Smith, Sharon, American Time Machine on Spotify. Kurt, your music. And we're going to do an APM episode soon. I think maybe over the weekend or Monday or something when you have time.
Yes.
Sweet. We'll do a full APM. We can look at all these. We can review some memes. But you can download the American Time Machine music. You can even go to, is Clussy moving its way up? Clussy's moving its way up. Look at that. Look at that. That's awesome.
Gotta get some Clussy.
Dude. And I almost had a girlfriend. Won't ever let me play right here. But you guys, you're going to love that song. That's really good. And then, Melissa, you have a website, or do you want me to go to the MK Canada Discord or what?
Yeah, MK Canada Discord. I'm trying my best on there, you guys.
Dude,
right now, I'm interested in silent films. I just discovered it.
Oh, yeah. So this is going to be crazy. If you guys are interested, throughout the week, we'll be posting more of this stuff. Also, silent films from Canada and things can be make their way. We'll put a bunch of movies into the videos thing here. Any new video now, Foundry Boy will tell you when a new video comes out. And we're going to start doing the members only radio as well as open radio and targeted radio chat. Be advised, it's not a secure line. So we'll be doing that this week.
Okay, I have a question as a viewer.
Yeah.
What is the radio? What is that?
Cool. So it's going to make a lot more sense when I start to show up, but I've been so busy. I just haven't been doing it. But basically what happens is people get into, let me just click on the button. It's going to freak people out. Boom, connected. Now I'm in the radio and you see my name there. People will jump into the radio and they're going to want to talk. And then you can have a list of people talking. And then while they're talking, you go to the targeted radio chat, which is bridged to the matrix. So nothing can be deleted. And you can post stuff related to the conversation. And you can have like 50 people in a room and you push to talk. So one talks at a talks. So you can have basically a live show, radio show all the time. So targeted radio is back. And this used to be a great way for people that didn't have their own channels yet to record data. They could record a conversation with somebody. Then you can make your own videos with that, put some pictures behind it, put it up on YouTube, try to make it easier for the members to create content. And also just, you can have a support network where you can talk to each other. So
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's going to be sweet. And then again, you saw the games. Where's games at? It's like games. So like literally we have like 1,000 robots and you can play games with them and each other. You can play
This
chess.
I don't understand what's happening. And then
The
I
fisher ones,
sometimes
dudes,
activate it and I'm like, sorry.
I might put the fishing in a whole other room because fishing takes up a lot of space, but it's kind of fun to go fishing. But the normal games are like chess with somebody. You can play chess over the Discord with another member, and you can play Oregon Trail, and there's like RPGs and things like that that are installed here. There's one that tells you which Star Wars character you are. It's basically a real Discord all of a sudden. So that's pretty sweet. So, but dudes, thank
Cool.
you for being here. I'll see you next week, hopefully, if you guys have time. And then in the meantime, you know, watch every other episode I got. There's a new episode tomorrow that is Acid Dreams Chapter 3, which is going to be a crazy look at Timothy Leary and how the CIA put acid into the hands of the American populace, which
Sounds
is
awesome.
Cool.
All right. See you guys later.
Man, take
Thank you
care.
so much.
Bless
Bye,
you.
guys.